Good morning, Call of Duty fans. It's well, I say it's morning here. I don't know what time it is where you're watching, but recording this in the morning, of course, on Tuesday before the Challengers League games kick off this evening. Of course, tonight and tomorrow night, European and North American teams will finish out their round robin groups, and we're very excited to see who comes out on top. Before we do delve into the games, I kind of want to have a look through the pools to see where everybody's sort of sitting at this moment in time after 4 games. First of all, let's go through North America straight off the bat. Subliners Academy and Wester sitting at the very, very top. When it comes down to it should actually be Western first because they've actually lost last games. But besides the point, these two seemingly having a very, very good week. 4-0 from them finds themselves in a good spot. UT Crew, I should say, and Team Z also tied up in 3rd and 4th respectively with 3-1. But of course, Team Z actually getting the win over UT Crew should technically put them in the lead over them. Higher at 1-3 as are built by gamers. Moki and Mr. Midmaps both at 0-4. Mr. Midmaps with 1 map win. Let's move over towards Europe. I haven't used code Gamepedia because the website for some reason isn't working on the European pool. Don't really know why that is. But having a look towards it, only one flawless team. Auglis, of course, in there at 4-0. Gangsters at 3-1. Connect 4 at 3-1. Rams and Obtain both at 2-2, with House Tarth and Singularity both at 1-3, and Team 3G at 0-4 after week number 1. Let's delve into it. Because Europe, this is the discussion we were having on Broly's podcast, Infinity's podcast last night, is that table could really flip. It really, really could. The teams in this one are very, very evenly matched. I feel as if 3G are maybe a little bit of an outlier in fairness, but other than that, it's not out of the question for everybody else to beat anybody on their day. It's very, very tight towards the top. Of course, Auglis are the ones that have started off the best. They'll be going up against the Rams, and I do believe they actually lost to the Rams in the final of the Challengers Cup at the weekend. So that's a good setup for the Rams to sort of say, right, okay, well, we've got one over on them. We can definitely do it again. These two kind of being back and forth throughout the whole of the pre-season for the Challengers side of things, if you like. And yeah, things are going to be tight in that one. Of course, at the same time, Gangsters and Connect 4, who are both 3-1, are going up against each other, so that's a super interesting game, important for them too, and I think that should really solidify a top 2 spot for one of them too, if they obviously can get through their other games, but I think that is the difficulty. But that should really be a good game. I believe that might actually be the game that is going to be broadcasted at 8 PM tonight. 3G against House Tarth, super important for House Tarth. I think 3G are probably a little bit far gone and will likely be relegated nonetheless, or have to re-qualify. House Tarth could really do with that win. I believe they will get it. Obtained against Singularity. It's an important one for both. Obtained want to be pushing themselves up that table, and they can do with a win over Singularity, but Singularity must win their game as well. They don't want to be in that bottom 2, and House Tarth arguably have an easier time of things against 3G. House Tarth end up against Auglis, very, very difficult game for them. Auglis have looked like one of the better teams. This one's going to come down to the hard points. Both very, very good hard point teams. House Tarth's S&D, as we were speaking last night, has been not fantastic, whereas Auglis has been solid across the board. A couple of 3-2 wins for them. So I think Auglis will probably come out on top of that one, but nonetheless, it will be a very close game. 3G against Singularity. So both House Tarth and Singularity getting to play against 3G this week. So you would probably expect wins there. It's going to be the other games that it comes down to for these teams. But then Obtained against Connect 4, and then Auglis. Obtained have got a really, really tough week, and they could honestly be within like the bottom 3 at the end of this one if they don't step it up from last week. But Connect 4 and Auglis, very, very tough games for them. But Gangsters against Rams, look, I think, you know, when we go through all of these games, all of them are super, super tight, and it's very, very hard to call. I do believe Auglis will still end up on top after such a good start in week number 1, and specifically against 2 teams who are also in the top 3. It sort of gives them that little edge. They do have some technically easier games, even though I don't really feel as if there's any easy games in Europe. But of course, Obtained against Auglis, a very, very tough game. Connect 4 should be walking through 3G. Gangster Singularity is an important one as well. Singularity and House Tarth really do need to win all of their game, and House Tarth up against Rams at the weekend is a very, very tough one. I don't know how this really ends up, to be honest with you. In Europe, I kind of think 3G are kind of gone at this point. If I was to give anyone that edge up top, I would still say it's Auglis, because the 2 teams who are 2nd and 3rd in Connect 4 and Gangsters are 2 teams that they have beaten alongside Obtained and alongside 3G. So they still have tough games. Rams, House Tarth and Singularity are not, or House Tarth and Obtained. Actually, I can't even remember who they're playing. Besides the point, they do have very, very tough games. So Auglis have got Rams, House Tarth, and then they have, yes, okay, it was Obtained, sorry. So very, very tough games nonetheless. I still think they're going to come out on top. I'd argue they could probably lose one, but they have it in their potential like to still be first with losing that one game. So if they even do lose one, I still believe they may well end up first. And then, of course, I think... who do I think is going to end up second in there? It's a tough one because you look at Gangsters games, who they got? Connect 4, Rams, and SNG. That's very, very tough. But then the other side, Connect 4, Gangsters, Obtained, and SNG. It's going to come down to this Gangsters Connect 4 game, who I think finishes second, to be honest with you. Whoever wins that one, I think will probably excel away. Gangsters can beat Rams, Gangsters can beat SNG. Connect 4 are probably, well, okay, they should probably get the win over on 3G, but then if they lose to Gangsters, I don't know. I think it really does come down to that game of which way things go. At the bottom, I think 3G are definitely in there. And I'm not too sure who's going to end up in there with them, to be honest with you. If I was to hedge my bets on anybody, it may well be SNG. They'll get a win over 3G, but so will House Tarth. But then they've got Gangsters and Obtained, and those are very, very hard games for them. I think Singularity may win one or two games this week, but I just don't think it's going to be enough. I think House Tarth are maybe going to go on a bit of a tear. Obtained are in danger, Rams are in danger as well. But realistically, I see August at the top. I see 3G at the bottom. I don't know otherwise how it's going to go. I think Gangsters might lock in second. Other than that, though, 3rd to 7th could literally go in any different direction. So very, very excited to see how that one plays out. Let's have a look at the North American side of things, though. We'll go through their games now. Subliners Academy against UT Crew is a big one, of course. It will be said, though, I think, you know, we maybe put too much stock into the results in week number 1 because of the fact that who is played who. Like, there's a lot of good teams that still have to play each other in North America this week. It seemed as if the top kind of played the bottom for the most part throughout this, so it's going to be super interesting. I mean, Wester's lineup is pretty difficult. Team Z, UT Crew, and then Subliners Academy. That is what, so that's 2nd, 3rd, and 4th. They all have to play. So I mean that's a super hard lineup for Wester, and the same has to be said. Subliners Academy don't have easy ones. UT Crew, Mr. Maps, I expect them to win that one. But then Wester towards the end, I think, is realistically a very, very close game. Brody was saying he thinks that Subliners Academy are going to win that, and it was just a completely baseless prediction. But at the same time, I could argue against it. I think Wester looked very, very good. But we're really looking towards the bottom, and we're looking towards the teams who really haven't done the best so far. Your mid-maps, your Mocky-Mockies, to see if they can do anything. Mocky-Mocky against mid-maps is obviously an important one. If mid-maps lose that, they're done. Essentially, that's things wrapped up. But then Mocky-Mocky against Built by Gamers is a super close one, as is the next game against Team Z. That should be super interesting, because Mocky-Mocky, obviously, they were a little bit better in the Challengers Cup side of things throughout the off-season, if you like, and now the fact that they're in here hasn't went well so far. They still could go on to do well higher. I've got a really tough week against Built by Gamers, Team Z, and Mr. Midmaps. Of course, they should win that one, but they still have a very, very tough time of things. But Built by Gamers are the team I'm looking at to try and bounce back this week specifically. They got a game against Higher, then Mocky, then UT Crew. These are all winnable games, and they can really push themselves up. So I think, honestly, the American side of things is a lot closer in terms of how things could run out. But I mean, I say that. Both regions are super, super close. I mean, Built by Gamers, they could arguably win all 3 of their games this week. We'll put them in 4 and 3. Subliners and Wester are obviously going to come up against each other, but they have tough games as well, especially Wester have got to take on Subliners Academy, UT Crew, and Team Z. So very, very much could be a banana skin, if you like, on that one for them. But I honestly think Mr. Midmaps are done down there. I think it's a mix-up between Higher and Mocky for that 7th spot. I'm interested to see if Mocky can make a push. Proper was in the chat yesterday and sort of saying that he thinks that they could, but I don't know. I don't know how convinced I am by what I've seen from them last week. They did have very, very tough games as far as I'm aware. But other than that, though, they only won 3 maps as well. So it's tough to say, but nonetheless, let me know what you think is going to happen in the Elite Challengers tonight. Are you excited for it? Who do you think is going to end up on top? Leave a comment below. Let me know what you're going to think of these games, and hope you're excited for, obviously, the CDL stuff coming throughout the week. We've got pick'ems coming as well for any advice on who wants some points. You may want to listen to me or not. It's up to you, but nonetheless, this has been the video covering the Elite Challengers things. We'll review in a few days' time. Hopefully, I'm right on some of the results. Excited for the games nonetheless. I hope you are too. We'll catch you for those games. We'll catch you for the next video.